Hello and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll be walking you through the real foundations of building a long-term remote career, how to position yourself for stability, why many remote workers give up too soon, and what you need to prioritize if you want to turn remote work into a dependable, long-term path. If you are coming across my video for the first time, do well to subscribe and click on the notification icon so that you will be notified whenever I share a new video. In this channel, I release regular updates and tips on how to make money online and become more effective in online platforms. Now let's get into the topic in more detail. Over the past decade, the way we work has changed dramatically. Work is no longer tied to a physical office, a fixed desk, or even a specific country. Technology has made it possible for professionals to collaborate across continents, attend meetings from their homes, and build full careers without ever stepping into a corporate building. What used to be considered a rare privilege is now becoming a normal career path. Remote work is not just about working from home. It represents a structural shift in the global workforce. Companies are hiring talent from different time zones. Professionals are choosing flexibility over commuting. Entire industries are now built around distributed teams. Platforms like LinkedIn and Upwork are filled with opportunities that did not exist 15 years ago. Software engineers in one country build products for companies in another. Marketers run campaigns for brands they may never physically visit. Writers, designers, analysts, and consultants work entirely online. But here is something very important to understand. There is a big difference between getting a remote job and building a long-term remote career. Many people enter remote work because they want flexibility. Some are attracted by the idea of working in comfortable clothes. Others want to avoid commuting. And while those benefits are real, they are not enough to sustain a career over many years. Remote work requires intention. It requires discipline. It requires strategic positioning. Without structure, remote work can feel unstable. Contracts can end. Clients can disappear. Burnout can happen quietly. Isolation can reduce motivation. Income can fluctuate. If you want remote work to become a lifelong professional path instead of temporary, you must build it deliberately. In this video, I am going to walk you through the deeper principles that help transform remote work from a short-term opportunity into a stable, long-term career. Let us begin with the foundation, choosing the right direction. Before thinking about flexibility, income, or lifestyle, you must first think about longevity. Not every profession translates well into remote environments, and not every remote opportunity has long-term growth potential. A sustainable remote career begins with selecting a field that has global demand and digital compatibility. Roles in technology, digital marketing, data analysis, design, content creation, customer support, cybersecurity, and project management continue to expand because they rely primarily on digital infrastructure. For example, developers collaborate through platforms like GitHub. Marketing teams coordinate campaigns online. Remote teams meet virtually using tools such as Zoom. These systems are not temporary solutions. They are permanent components of modern business. When choosing a path, it is important to ask long-term questions. Is this skill adaptable? Is automation likely to replace it soon? Is the industry growing globally? Can this work be delivered effectively without physical presence? A remote career should not be built on convenience alone. It should be built on future relevance. Stability comes from aligning yourself with industries that are expanding rather than shrinking. Once you choose a direction, the next step is developing expertise that sets you apart. Remote work is global, which means competition is also global. When companies hire remotely, they are not comparing you to 5 candidates in your city. They may be comparing you to hundreds of professionals worldwide. That reality demands more than average skills. Instead of positioning yourself as a generalist in everything, it is often more powerful to develop depth in a specific area. Specialization increases perceived value. A generic digital marketer competes with thousands. A paid advertising strategist for e-commerce brands stands out more clearly. A general writer competes widely. A technical writer for SaaS companies occupies a more defined niche. You can showcase your evolving expertise through professional platforms like LinkedIn, where your experience, certifications, and projects become visible to recruiters and collaborators. The deeper your knowledge, the more stable your career becomes. Specialists are harder to replace than generalists. And in a remote environment where visibility is digital, clarity of expertise becomes your strongest advantage. Now let's talk about building a digital reputation that works for you. In a physical office, people observe your work ethic, personality, and reliability daily. In remote work, your reputation lives online. This means your digital presence is not optional. It is essential. A well-structured professional profile, a portfolio that demonstrates real results, and thoughtful participation in industry conversations all contribute to long-term credibility. When someone searches your name, the information they find should reinforce professionalism and competence. Creating thoughtful content on LinkedIn or even educational content on YouTube can position you as someone who understands your field deeply. Over time, this builds authority. Authority attracts opportunity. Clients prefer professionals who demonstrate clarity and confidence. Employers prefer candidates who show initiative. When your online presence communicates value before you even apply for a role, your remote career becomes less dependent on constant job searching. Reputation compounds over time. Each completed project, each testimonial, and each shared insight strengthens your long-term positioning. As remote work grows, communication becomes one of the most critical professional skills. In traditional offices, misunderstandings can be clarified quickly in person. In remote settings, unclear communication can delay projects, create tension, or reduce trust. Strong remote professionals learn how to write clearly, document processes thoroughly, and communicate expectations precisely. They provide updates before being asked. They clarify deadlines. They ask thoughtful questions when instructions are ambiguous. Teams often collaborate using tools such as Slack for messaging and structured platforms like Asana for task coordination. These tools only function effectively when communication is intentional. When you communicate clearly and consistently, you build reliability. Reliability leads to long-term contracts, promotions, and referrals. In remote work, communication is not just a soft skill. It is career security. Another important subject of remote work is how to create stability in an environment that can feel uncertain. One of the challenges of remote work is income variability. Contracts may end, companies may restructure, freelance clients may pause projects. Without preparation, this uncertainty can create stress. A long-term remote career benefits from layered stability. Some professionals combine a primary remote job with selective freelance projects. Others build small digital products or offer consulting within their field. The goal is not to overwork, but to reduce dependency on a single source of income. For instance, professionals sometimes use platforms like Teachable to share structured knowledge in their area of expertise. This creates additional income that complements their main work. Stability also comes from financial discipline. Saving consistently, planning for slow periods, and managing expenses wisely are essential components of long-term sustainability. Remote freedom feels much more secure when financial buffers are in place. Now, how do you build discipline and prevent burnout in a remote work setting? Remote work offers flexibility, but flexibility without structure can quietly lead to burnout. When your home becomes your office, boundaries blur. Some professionals overwork because they feel they must constantly prove productivity. Others struggle with distractions and reduce focus. Long-term remote success requires intentional structure, creating a consistent routine, designing a dedicated workspace, setting clear working hours, and protecting personal time are not small habits. They are career-preserving practices. Discipline ensures that productivity remains consistent over years, not just months. Burnout often occurs when professionals chase short-term output without considering long-term sustainability. A remote career should be built with pacing in mind. Steady performance is more powerful than intense but inconsistent effort. Finally, no remote career survives without adaptation. Technology evolves rapidly. Tools improve. Industries shift. Artificial intelligence, automation, and new platforms continuously reshape workflows. Professionals who thrive long-term are those who commit to ongoing learning. They explore new tools such as Notion for organization or upgrade their collaboration methods as digital systems evolve. Learning does not always mean formal education. It can mean reading industry updates, joining professional communities, taking online courses, or experimenting with new approaches. Remote work rewards those who remain curious. The moment you stop learning, your relevance begins to decline. The moment you adapt, new opportunities appear. As we come to the end of this video, it is important to understand that building a long-term remote career is not about convenience. It is about intentional design. It requires choosing a future-proof direction, developing deep and valuable expertise, building a digital reputation that attracts opportunity, mastering communication in distributed teams, creating financial stability, maintaining disciplined work habits, and continuously adapting to change. Remote work offers extraordinary flexibility and global access, but flexibility alone does not guarantee sustainability. Longevity comes from structure, strategy, and consistent growth. When you approach remote work as a serious professional path rather than a temporary arrangement, you position yourself not just as someone who works from home, but as a globally competitive professional with lasting relevance. A remote career can provide freedom, stability, and growth, but only when it is built deliberately. I hope you learned something valuable from this video. If you did, please do well to like, share, and comment your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for watching to the end and see you in the next video.